Hi everyone, and welcome to another Sinnisj Insulator video. So I am Josh, and I'm your attic insulator. Today, we'll be going through a walkthrough of a pretty tough attic. So it's a short attic, and you'll see definitely some of the good footage there. For if you have an old house and you have to do the same thing, it's something that you can use to get an idea of what to do. Perhaps there are some things that you saw in the video that you say, oh, okay, I've learned some things here. This is what I would do different. That's totally fine. I'm always here sharing what I do. So I do about 4 jobs a day. If you do like this video, please click on that awesome thumbs up. It definitely helps this channel out, and also click on the subscribe button in order to see further attic installation videos and tips on how to save on your heating and cooling bills on a budget. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm just starting out. This is the layout of the attic. Each truss that's a little bit hidden by the cellulose, so that's cellulose that you see there. It's 16 inch on center. You can tell by looking at the roof, and then you can see where the trusses are. The cavities there usually intake air from the outside into the attic, and then that air is exited through the roof. So what I'm doing right now is extending those vents. Those vents protect basically the intake of the air, so they allow the air to go in without disturbing the insulation, the loose fill insulation that I'm going to be installing later on. So that's what those are for. You staple those. So I've got my awesome stapler there. And so that's a hammer stapler. It's basically just hammer it onto the plywood to get the stapler. I like those better than the ones that you have to squeeze, because then you have to get right in, versus with the hammer stapler you can sort of at a distance whack at those vents, and you can install them without having your hand too much on the nails, because that's the one big thing with installing those vents. You have to watch out for roof nails. There's a lot of them. This attic was pretty short, so we couldn't even get a plank to help me out navigate through. So unfortunately, I did have my knee pads, which is great. So that alleviated a little bit of pressure while I'm maneuvering around. The second attic, I do want to say that there's 2 attics in this house. The second attic was much shorter. That was a lot more difficult. I had to go on my back on that one. I have the same technique, but I'm doing the installation of the vents on my back because I have no other choice. The loose fill insulation basically filled up pretty close to the bottom of those 2x4 crossers that you see for the A-frame. I did look at the roof, and I was very surprised because there was no signs of heavy mold. There's a little bit of signs of moisture, as you can see right around the nails, the roof nails, but nothing too major. So that was definitely a good thing. That definitely meant that there's a good amount of airflow going through, just to avoid having moisture buildup in the attic. So I want to show you in these few clips that you can install the vents when there is no existing vents. You just have to push the insulation back, and then you have to be able to see inside of the soffit so that you know that there's good airflow. But these following clips, I'm gonna basically be demonstrating just a little bit more detail how I actually go about installing these vents. So enjoy. So we're starting out the loose fill. Loose fill always starting, especially in something like this shallow, start right at the corners and so that you know that you don't have any air gaps and you've filled everything, because when you have shallow attics, you definitely want to try to get inside of those hidden cavities just to insulate as much as possible, and therefore you can avoid icicles in the winter, because we're in Canada here and you get temperatures at -20, and you definitely can see older houses with lots of big icicles. Newer homes, they don't necessarily have that issue because the perimeter of the house, you have a 2 foot high plywood wall, and then the soffit is extended so that you can have an R60 right at the perimeter on the on top of the outside walls. So what happens when I'm done at each of the perimeter, then I move to the middle, and then I even both sides out, just like you can see there. I got some really nice lighting this time. I know in my other videos I wasn't able to get the lighting, so this is going to be this is a much better shot. Okay, so here I'm at the attic and I'm finishing up at the attic hatch. So what we do is we cut up the sheets of fiberglass insulation so that the loose fill doesn't fall into the house when you open up the attic hatch. Because what you basically want is you want a continuous R60 coverage all the way across your attic. So that's why we have the walls. The walls are going to be built up to an equivalent of an R60, and then we put the loose fill a little bit higher, because loose fill, the R value per inch is a little bit less than the fiberglass sheets. And here's the beautiful product at the end. And then the second attic as well. Here's a couple of shots, and then the end product as well. So again, if you've enjoyed this, make sure that you click on that thumbs up button, and then subscribe as well. All right, see you next week.